John Algandi here today with the Greater Than Ever podcast, where I bring on special guests from athletes, coaches, and people inside and outside the fitness industry. I learn about them and their history and what made them successful and how people can learn from them how to be greater than ever. Stopping by for conversation, she's an IFBB Fit Model Pro, but over 10 years of competing in the NPC, competing in bikini, having many ups and downs, good days, bad days, and also having the goal of becoming an IFBB Pro. She's gone through it, all types of levels, gone through different changes and how everything evolves with bikini. And her last bikini amateur show was the Arnold Amateur in 2025. And after that, she thought about calling it quits. But when the Fit Model division was announced, she decided, I'm going to go for it. And she won her very first overall at the Wasatch Warrior. And after a couple national shows in 2025 at the Olympic Amateur, she won her IFBB Pro card. She is a dedicated person, a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, a mother, someone who has that goal and pursuit of never giving up and never quitting, and also doesn't see as becoming an IFBB Pro as an end goal, but also being a great pro, a great person, an inspiration to women and mothers all alike. Please welcome my next guest, IFBB Fit Model Pro, Brooklyn Goodsell.
Nine weeks out from the Wasatch.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to bring you on just to kind of share your story. And yeah, we're actually going to talk about Wasatch because that's the first ever US show for Fit Model. So kind of going into about you and just an introduction to you and what got you into this sport, because you've been in this for some time now. And I don't want to make you feel like you're only 2 years older than me right now. So you've been in this since OG era, and you've been in the amateur levels, and how every year how it's evolved. And then finally, I feel like you've realized your potential until later in life and realize finally everything fell in line. So let's go from the beginning to how you got into this, going back to 2014 and why you decided to go in competing and all.
Yeah. So I got into competing originally. My husband actually got me into competing. He was a bodybuilder when I first met him. And I don't know if you remember, this is a long time ago, but before social media, we had magazines, right? And I remember being at the
Yes.
grocery store and I saw a picture of Muscle and Fitness Hers and I saw Aaron Stern on the cover. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's amazing. That's what I want to look like. And so then I went to my first bodybuilding show, just checked it out, and then I did my first ever show in, I think it was 2013 or 2014. Honestly, I can't remember exactly. And yeah, that was the OG bikini. It was
Okay.
it was really fun. And at the time it wasn't like it is now. It was very different. Like the posing was different. You did your own makeup, you did your own hair. Like the suits were not as nice as they are now. So yeah. And that was
So
2014.
so Aaron was in figure. Did you consider figure, or you're like, no, I don't think I can grow into that, maybe I should try bikini?
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to achieve that, but I was just a newbie in the gym, right? I was just brand new to
Yeah.
working out. I mean, I was a former athlete in high school, but I didn't have that level of muscle mass. And so this is when bikini was really fresh on the scene. And so I just decided to do that and try that out. And I did my first show. I did a different federation than what I'm in now, but I won the overall. And then that's kind of what started it all. And I never really tried out for figure because I felt like I fit at that time. I was fitting bikini really well because I was doing pretty decent at all the shows that I was doing.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of looked at the competition history. So, um, you you were in the NPC around 2014, 2015, right?
Yeah.
And which show that got you nationally qualified to go to Universe in 15?
Oh gosh. It was an Idaho show. I don't remember which one. It was either the Idaho Cup or the Idaho Muscle Classic. And I did one of those and I won first in my class. And then 2015, yeah, that was my first ever national show.
Okay. And so going back into all this, so you got into it because the magazines era, you were you kind of wanted to have that physique type. So going in, And how old were you at the time? Sorry to ask.
Oh geez. I was definitely in my early 20s.
Okay.
I was probably like 20, 21, maybe 22. Yeah.
Okay. So, and let me just ask, like your background. So, you what kind of athlete were you? And like you went to school and all? And
Yeah. So in high school, I did track and field.
okay.
And I did that and then I did a little bit of cross country, but I was mostly like a hurdler. That was kind of my thing. And then,
Mm.
yeah, and then I got to college, and that's when I met my husband, and we started lifting weights. That's when he was into bodybuilding, and I loved the look of female bodybuilders. I just thought it was beautiful, honestly, because back then, you think back then it was like, oh gosh, like 2011, 2012, 2013, women were almost just striving for like just being skinny, and
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I was not attracted to this. Like I never looked at a female and been like, "Oh, wow, that's impressive. She's skinny." I would see a female, she had muscle or like beautiful toned legs, and I'd be like, "That's the look I want to go for." But at the time, I mean, we didn't really have a lot of the information. I'm sounding so old right now, but like this was over a
Listen,
decade ago.
listen. I'm 30 years old, so it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. So,
You remember, right?
I
It was all about
yeah.
the flat butts and everything, you know? It was weird.
Yeah, that was kind of the industry's that was the kind of the industry's direction. I mean, look, if you look at what bikini was when it kind of first started, it was kind of like a pageant girl, kind of like Victoria's Secret. You don't see people talking about Victoria's Secret girls now today. They don't, because it's like kind of like it's unhealthy. I mean, can you believe that people were like 800 calories a day? Like they were like 2 hours of cardio, and like it was this fish and asparagus kind of diets. I'm just looking at it like we are so much better now. We are so much better healthy, because everybody was like skinny's the best, and you have to fit into these clothes, you have to look good. It's like, no, there's many ways of doing things, and everyone's body's different, and you have to go and individualize everybody and know what works for them. But back then, the coaching teams were like just cookie cutter plans, because they just try to figure it out what the look was. They were one team kind of based. I'm not bashing on anybody, I don't want to say, but like I kind of remember how it was. But everyone was trying to have their bikini girls kind of do figure diets and not put on so much muscle. So, but that didn't always work for some people. So it was just kind of figuring it out. But you came from a track and field background, and I noticed this even in the pro league. A lot of the best athletes that have been champions, who have turned pro, they were once in track and field. If you think about it, like Ashley, Erin almost went to the Olympics when she went to Florida. If you didn't know this, like I think that she was like almost like that close, like almost like a 1 second decision, like of like if she won, she would have got to the Olympics. And Sydney Gillen as well. I mean, the list goes on and on. Shanique Grant, a lot of pros even now. It's just like they have. I feel like what really helped you into doing this for such a long time was maybe that discipline from coming from track and field, even if it wasn't in the college level, even if it was just in high school. But going into into the bikini when you're starting. So here we go. So 2015, you did university, placed 10th in your first national show, and then from 2016 to 2020, it was just doing NPC shows. And then you didn't do a national show until 2021. So from 2016 to 2020, I feel like 2016 is definitely when you kind of started to see the division change, when Courtney won the Olympia at the time, and how the look of bikini and how the posing and how everything was different. So every year you're like always adapting and always evolving with the division. So take me along that journey from 2016 to 2020. What went on during those times, and what things happened in your life, and what changes?
Yeah, so 2016, man, it really did. I remember, so me and my husband, we opened a nutritional store where we live. And so we were really heavily in the industry, in the fitness industry. We would go to the Olympia every year because we had a store, and they would always have like a convention going on. We'd have to go for our supplement store. And I remember watching, like, every year at the Olympia, I would watch these girls just get more muscular and more muscular. And then I started noticing it as the more shows I did. I was like placing lower and lower. And I won't lie, like it was a little frustrating because I was like, I was doing so well and I was like winning and getting first in my class. I had never actually won an overall in the NPC at that point. But I mean, as far as like competition goes in like the NPC, it really did rapidly evolve. The women just got more muscular. They basically got like that
Yeah.
level of Aaron Stern look. So I wasn't mad about it. I was like, damn, these girls are looking amazing. But I was also like, I am 5'7.5", 5'8". I'm a tall girl. I have good genetics, but I don't have like really muscular genetics. And so for me to put on that amount of size, like it was gonna require me like next level. And at that point, I think it was like what 2017 was my very last show. I competed in November and I literally got pregnant like not even a month after competing. So, for women that say you can't get pregnant and compete, like I call bullshit because I did. Like it worked for me. And I did. I got pregnant and then I had my son, 9 months later. And then 11 months after that, which was what, 2019, I got on stage again. And at that point, it was 2019. So a lot had changed. Like, the girls were looking very, very, very muscular, very athletic. And I wasn't, the thing is like, everybody's like, oh, they should have held it. And I'm like, honestly, this is just the sport of bodybuilding. Like the evolution is just normal part of it. If you look at any sport, like even like you watch the Olympics from where they were, probably 10, 15 years ago to now, everything's evolved. Like their speeds are faster, they're more athletic. It's just because we have more information now. So can't get mad about it. I was actually all about it. I was like, damn. But the hard thing for me, yet again, I was building a business, I had a newborn baby. And so I chose to just compete for fun at that point. And I loved the sport. It got me back to a good body composition after I had my son. And I just did like a few shows, like, a year at that point. And then I worked with a few coaches that they didn't really fully understand my body, couldn't get me quite lean enough. Because I also have PCOS. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's
Yeah, I know it is.
yeah, I have that. So it makes it difficult for me to get lean. And I'm not one of those girls who can eat like 700 grams of carbs a day. And so I had worked with some coaches that tried to push that on me. And I'm like, literally, this isn't going to work for me. Like my body does not play ball with crazy amounts of carbs. I can do a decent amount, but not crazy amount. And then from there, like I kind of transitioned into a different coach. And like, I think it was like 2023. And then that's when I started doing a lot better. So I was kind of placing, I don't know. I mean, I had some really bad placings in there. I had like, and I never want people to feel bad. Like these are bad placings, but for me coming from like, I'm just a really competitive person. So I'm always like, you're seeing Talladega Nights, like if you ain't first, you're last, like that's, so I kind of was just like really hard on myself. Even when I got fourth after I had my son, I was like, what the hell? Like, okay, obviously like I need to be more conditioned. I need more muscle. And then from there, I think I had like maybe a few second places, but I never could like crack that first place. And then I hired.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, like, I think 2021 you did second at Wasatch at that year. It was like a lot of like second in the class. So, but you got always nationally qualified.
Yeah, and I did.
But you felt like, but you felt like if you won first in your class, you would feel like I could be a contender to get a pro card. Was that kind of the mentality of it?
I mean, I think like because I ended up doing nationals in. What's the date of that? You said 2020, right? 2022, 2021?
2021, that was the junior USAs.
Yeah. So that was more of my coach. Like she was at the time, she was just like, okay, well, I feel like you could do okay. Like you could do well at nationals. And I'm like, well, I haven't been in a few years. Let's just see where I stack up. And that was not great. I think I got like what? I don't even know.
12th?
12th? Yeah, I got 12th.
This was junior USAs, was 12th?
Yeah, and that was bikini, And at the time, again, like, it was very obvious. I was going to these national shows. I was going to the regional shows, and these girls were really muscular, and I was not. I just did not have that level of muscle maturity. And honestly, like, to be honest, like, structurally, where my muscles insert, my delts are like this long, My glutes.
You with me right now? Here we go. Okay, so my question being asked before everything got lost was This whole time, this like all these years, you've been natural. You've not decided to go into that route because I feel like when you got like more muscular, like how is that happening? Should I do something differently? Was Did that ever cross your mind, or you just like, no, I'm gonna keep growing into my max potential?
Yeah, I think I just kind of, I don't know. I already have a lot of health issues as it is.
Yeah,
And so it was just like one of those things that I was like, I don't want to cause more problems down the road. And I also have like my PCOS, I have my thyroid condition. So I just chose to like, okay, well, we'll just do what we can do here. And so we did. I competed in 2023 nationals. I did, and this wasn't on the NPC News Online. I don't know why, but I forgot. I did the Arnold Amateur February 2024, and I got fourth at the no, I got fifth at the Arnold Amateur. Um, and so like I was doing good, right? Like I was doing okay, but
yeah.
I was getting first call outs at these national shows. Again, I did the Olympia Amateur in 2024. And then I did nationals again, and that I got sixth. Yes. Sorry, I'm like skipping ahead. Yes. And then again in 2025, I did the Arnold Amateur and I got sixth. So like I was doing these national shows. I was first call outs always. Like I was never not first call outs, which for me was awesome because prior to that, I wasn't even like touching that. Like I was like second, third call outs.
Like outside top five kind of a thing. But yeah, I mean, so you did your last bikini show in at the Arnold Amateur in 2025. So Fit Model was announced in December. Did you look at that kind of like, no, I'm too advanced, or like, maybe I should consider it at that time?
Um, I'm gonna be really honest. I thought it was like I was like I when I saw a fit model, I was like, I feel like I'm a little too muscular for that. Like I feel like I get like I'm a little too shredded. They won't like my look. But then when I did the Arnold, this is when it really hit me hard. I did the Arnold in 2025, the amateur. I was like, oh damn, like these girls are big and they're very muscular. Um, I can't even match that. Like it was very like obvious when I was backstage with them that it was like, okay, like you have two choices here, Brooklyn. Like you can get on some like really hard stuff and start like getting bigger, take some time off, or just be done competing. My mind hadn't even thought about fit model at that point, to be honest. I was really sad because I felt like my era of bodybuilding was over. I literally at that point, and this was literally this time last year, I was like, I'm just done. Like I'm not gonna keep competing if I'm not doing well. Because like I'm a competitive person and I want to do well. So for me, it was a little sad because I just could kind of told myself. I even sat down with my coach and he just was like, look, we've got two choices here. Like you take some time off and you really need to build, but you do need to shut it down. Like these girls are really like getting muscular. And since 2023, even to now, they're becoming more muscular and you're not keeping up.
Yeah. And that's
And
what's hard with especially bikini. Now it's like the gap between amateur and pro is like huge.
Mhm.
It's like, it's back then you national level. I mean, we've both lived through this era. I don't want to age us, but like both back then, it's like people who didn't turn pro at like national level shows, you kind of knew those same national level people, like they're gonna come back, like the same top 10, or
Mhm.
like they would come back into another year. Now it's kind of like, okay, well, best person has to win, and that's kind of what the thing is. But even people who are turning pro, you're not seeing them like Courtney King and Issa, where like they turn pro, they win their first show, they get top 10, they get third, they win the Olympia. You're not seeing people do that very young and very fast. I feel like now it's like you're seeing a bit more people in bikini at their best in like their early 30s versus like, I mean, if you're like 1% of the 1%, those are the ones who are like right away, turn pro, qualify. But then going into Olympia, it's totally different. It's like they have to continue to work. Like there are levels to this, and you've been through it, so you know that. And this is one thing I'm happy to have you on because like you can relate to anybody and say there are levels to this from amateur to pro league, Olympia level, Arnold level. You've That's one thing I hope when people see this that they like and they see your journey. It's not just I just turned pro and fit model. No, it's like I went through it for a long time. I went through this whole change. I went through, so 2014, you've had what, 7 different Miss Bikini Olympia champions?
Yeah.
Now, like if you think about it, from Ashley to now Laura Lee and now and Marine back again. So you went through step, like that's the whole changes that's happened through it. That's one thing that I tell people, like if it, like this is good that they have something like this, but also it's also something that gives people an avenue, it gives people something to do and something to work towards. So you do, so let's talk about going into and deciding to do fit model. So you won your first class. Is it you actually you won your first ever overall at the Wasatch Warrior, and you live in Utah right now?
Yeah, I do live in Utah. Hmm.
So you went to shows in Idaho. Did you live in Idaho at the time, or just you just went to
No.
Idaho?
They just they had really good promoters for those shows, and they were usually like, you know, like the shows were just really high quality, and so I
Yeah.
loved traveling there. But no, I grew up in Idaho actually,
Oh, okay.
but I have since moved. I went to college in Utah, and then I live here now. So yeah, that's why I've done Wasatch so many times. My bikini and then fit model because it's just in my backyard. So
And that's awesome. And Robin's an awesome promoter. She's had the show now for 10 years, and I had her on. And I mean, what she's bringing, and obviously the athlete and fan experience, it's like no other. It's like it's also bringing the community together. So you win your first ever overall at Wasatch Warrior, then you go to Junior USA's, and the girl that actually, the girl that won the class got not only her pro card, but she won the overall. So I'm going to tell you this. I kind of looked at some of the girls you were going up against in some of these shows. I'm like, those girls turned out to be really good pros. So the people are
yeah,
not just, oh, they're pro and that's it. Like, no, these people were actually like going into and being competitive. These people are actually going to be really good when they are at the pro. And I'm happy to see you guys go against each other. So after junior says, then you do junior nationals, you get third. And then from there, you go into the Republic of Texas, you won another overall. And then you go into USA's. And I did see something about with the USA's. Did you like at that point you were like, I don't know if this is for me. I want to stop. And then you had your son with you at the time, and your son was like, you're gonna quit when it's like you're right there. And I'm thinking about this whole time when I'm looking at your story. The first thing I'm like, when I was looking at the whole thing, I'm like, this reminds me of somebody. I know it gets better. Ready? So you win the overall at Atlanta. So you
yeah.
keep winning overall. It's like I'm right there. It's like you're winning. You win a regional, go to national show. Regional, go national show. So you take fourth at North Americans, and this is where the funny thing is. You take fourth at North Americans. Were you thinking I should stop, or maybe I should call it a season, or did you think Olympia Amateur was next?
So yeah, because I won the overall at Atlanta. I had a free entry to Vegas or to Olympia Amateur. Vegas is like a 4.5 hour drive from my house. So
Oh,
I did North Americans, and I won't lie, like I saw the photos as soon as they published them, and I was like, oh, I'm looking flat. Like I know why I didn't do well. We came in flat. We came in. My posing was off. My tan was off. Like it made sense why. And honestly, I was like, I'm actually shocked that I placed fourth because I really was not on my A game at that show.
hmm.
But I was considering being done, and I called my husband and I was like, didn't do it. Like it didn't happen. And he's like, okay, well, good thing you have a free entry to Olympia Amateur and it's a 4.5 hour drive from our house. Just do it. And honestly, like there was a part of me that was like, I'm tired. Like mentally, I wasn't physically tired because like maintaining like a fit model physique is not, if I'm being honest, like it's not like the hardest thing compared to bikini. Bikini's hard to maintain because you're so diced. But for fit model, I mean, I had maintained that for basically what, like a year. I was just mentally done. Like I was just like, I'm sick of losing, honestly. Like I'm sick of not getting my pro card. Like this hurts. Like it's almost like you like I would have an overall and I'd be like, yay, like this is so great. I won an overall. And then I'd go and do a national show and it was like, nope, not for you yet. And I do remember and I really appreciate Bill for this during USA's, I was backstage with him and I was asking him like what I needed to do. And I was like, okay, Bill, I won't lie, I'm getting really frustrated because I've been at almost all the national shows this year. I'm winning overalls. Like, what gives? Like, what do I need to do? And he was like really straight with me. And he goes, look, some people do this for like 20 national shows and then they get their pro card. Some people it's 5, but just because you're not getting it yet doesn't mean you're not going to get it. Just keep going. And I really appreciate him for that because like he didn't need to like encourage me like that because he's a judge. He could have just been like, well, you're not fitting the criteria, what we want. He literally was like, I've seen you. I gave you your overall at Republic of Texas. I've seen you at all the national shows. Like, cause he's been, I think he was at a handful of them, but he literally kind of like gave me like a stern talking to like, just keep going. And so like, I remembered that too after North Americans, cause he also was the head judge at North Americans and he was the head judge at the Olympia Amateur. So yeah, I was considering being done after North Americans, and I won't lie, coming into the Olympia Amateur, I had zero expectations. I literally was like, I'm probably going to get like second call outs, especially when I was in the lineup getting on stage. I had 16 girls in my class from the very beginning of the season. This is the hard thing about Fit Model. They only have Class D. So if you're 5'6" and up, you are in Class D. So Class D until Nationals this year has always been the biggest class. So I'm in the biggest class for like all year, every national show. And when we were lining up backstage, I saw the girls and I was like, And it's probably just because I had lost. I don't like to use that word. I didn't lose. My husband's like, you didn't lose. Like, you were still placing. But like, I wasn't winning, I guess, not getting my first place to get my pro card. And I was like, these girls look amazing. Honestly, probably not going to happen for me today. And you know what? I just need to be okay with that. And almost immediately, like when I got on stage, it was long. I won't lie. Like I was on stage for a while. I was on the very end. I think they call that like 7 or 8 of us. And then they moved me over here. And then they moved me over here. And then they moved me over here. And it was like, doo, 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 doo. And by the time I moved to the middle, I honestly had no idea where I was. I didn't even know I was in the center until I got off stage and my coach comes up to me. Paul was like, you were in the middle. Like, you're either first or second. And I was like, show me a video. Because I didn't believe him because I had no idea where I was. So, and then at that, it was the top 3 in the overall for pro cards at the Olympia Amateur. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was really Class D was very competitive. I always looked at like the shorter, like the Class A, Class B, but I can see why. Because I'm looking at Fit Model and I'm thinking like that longer physique, like that like slender physique is going to do very well. And for it's hard for like a taller girl. And I don't want to say this as anything wrong, but I feel like taller girls have a hard time like filling out, coming in like full and all. But I feel like this kind of that your physique type is going to be very well for the division. So top 3 in the overall get their pro cards, and then they announce third, and then you got your pro card handed to you. And I saw the video, you're just like, am I just holding it just because I'm holding it?
I was like, because I'll be honest, like at that point, I told myself and my coach, I was like, this is my last show. Like, I'm not going to keep pushing for this. Like this year, I'm done, and I'm probably done for a while. Because I mean, geez, at that point, that was like my 11th show within a calendar year. I was tired. Like mentally, you just get to a point where you're just like, man, I'm tired. Like this is, and not physically, I literally felt fine. I was like, I'm feeling good, but like mentally and emotionally, I was just really tired. And so when they announced my name, because even when I was in that, like waiting for the pro cards, I literally in my head, I was like, probably not going to be you, Brooklyn. Like you'll be the girl who doesn't get her pro card. And when they announced my name, I was like, like they handed it to me and I literally looked off stage like, what do I do? Like it was not something I was expecting. But I think like, to be honest, like if I look back at my journey, it's kind of developed me into this version of myself that like now as a pro, I feel like I'm going to be a good pro because I still will have no expectations. Like I'm not going to go in there and be like, I'm going to crush all of you. I'm going to go in there and be like, I am doing my best. I'm going to show up with my best posing, my best physique. I have made all of the rookie mistakes. I have, from the makeup to the hair to the tan to the not filling out properly to the wrong foods, to the posing. I mean, I feel like I did all these shows this year and I made so many rookie mistakes. But now, like going into as a pro, I'm like, I feel really confident. I feel like I earned that pro card. It wasn't just like they gave it to me. It was like, no, I fucking earned that, you know? Sorry for the swearing.
No, no, it's okay. You're more than welcome to, Chris. There's always a disclaimer. So, but like I said, you went through it for many years. I was thinking, my friend Brandon Barrow, he's an open bodybuilder. He was trying to go for his pro card for many years, and 22, he was second at the USA's to what's his name, beef stew. He eventually won the overall. He made every mistake, like not good tan, not filling out properly. He took fourth at North Americans, and then the following year in 2023, just like you, he took fourth at North Americans. And he put everything into one show, and he goes, I think I'm done for you. And then he got with his new coach. He goes, let's go for the Olympia amateur, because he's always nationally qualified, because I think top 5 in a class can automatically qualify. I don't know how it is now. I think it's different, but
Back then,
2023, what's that? Top
back then
5,
it was top
yeah,
five. Now it's top two.
top 2 in the class nationally
Mhm.
qualify. So then you have to go, yeah. So 2023 Orlando Olympia amateur. It's like, let's just go for it. Let's just see what happens. It's like, he's like, I think you still got it. And so he won his class in the he won his class. He was the super heavyweight, and he was just made sure his posing and everything was like timed well, and that's what really helped him. And then he won the class. I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And so they had the guys, and then they announced him as like in third. They said fifth place, fourth place, and then I'm like, oh. And third place, I remember like when he walked to get like to the center stage to hold the poker, he goes like after all these years. And I'm like, I remember crying for him. I was like, man, you did this for so many, because how many times he's been like second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, second. Is like, that's happened a lot for him. And then finally he got it. But he's in his he's now, I think, 34 now. So it was many years of this. He's started in as like a teenager and then doing this, and then finally he got it. But it was like many years of it. So he knows what it means to like go through that process, and I feel like those people who went through it for a long time are going to wind up being good pros, because they know what how to deal with the adversity. And so you have done that as well. So I wanted to ask you some questions, if you're ready for this. So,
Yeah.
all right, here we go. So when you started how was being a mom, and then going on stage in bikini? How was it like different when you were when you were a mom, and then before like you were not a mom, going on stage?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I always tell my clients, like when you become a mom, your day is not your day anymore. Your life is not your life. It's not all about you anymore. It's about your kid. And so I had to find ways to fit in my food prep, to fit in my working out, to fit in my posing that didn't take time away from my family, especially from my son, especially when he was a baby and little. That was hard. Even this last year, when I was competing, it was summertime and he was home all the time. I also work from home. I run a business. And so, like, it's really stressful, but also, like, you prioritize what's important to you. So, yeah, I had to wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m., do my cardio, do my training, and do my posing all in the morning, right? Like, I had to find ways to food prep, like, that would be quick and easy. So I wasn't taking time away from like all of his baseball games and all of his soccer games. I think like when you become a mom, if you have a goal, like for me, competing's been a really awesome like anchor for me, I'll be honest. It has allowed it kind of like pushes you to just find time. You make time. So instead of scrolling through my phone, like I'm gonna go food prep for 20 minutes, right? Instead of waking up and like, turning on the TV, I gotta go get on the treadmill because if I don't get it done in the morning, it's not gonna happen. So before I had my son, I'll be honest, like I had all the time in the world. Like I had a lot of time. Like we owned a business. I worked at a gym full time, and we owned our supplement store. And so like I was working a lot, but I didn't have a little person who needed me to feed them, right? I didn't need I didn't have a little person asking me like, "Mom, play with me." It's just different. It's just different. And I feel like when you become like a parent, you just if something's important to you, you'll find a way and you'll like, it's kind of like budgeting. You'll budget time for it.
Hmm.
And for me, it's really important that I make time for competing, but I also don't let it consume everything and every moment of my day. Because if it did, I wouldn't see my son. Like, so like I wake up in the morning before he wakes up for school and I go do my cardio and I pose in the morning. And now that he's at school full time, this is so nice. I get to go to the gym while he's at school after I'm done working. But before, when he was a baby, I literally had to get it all done from 4 a.m. to like 8 or 9 a.m. Like that was it. That was my time block for myself. And then outside of that, the rest of my day was not my day. It was about him.
Yeah.
And I just had to stay on my food prep. And that's not that hard. So,
Yeah. And I think that's one thing. It's like the whole discipline part of it. Like it's like you're doing it very well. And I definitely think that's like he will see that in you. It's like, what it means to be disciplined, what it means to have commitment and do things very well. And I think that you're setting a really good example for your son. And honestly, I'm happy to know that you're doing that very well.
I
So
appreciate
my
that.
next question I wanted to ask was the reasoning you decided to go and compete. This is a very mental sport, and sometimes it can take a lot out of you. So, your reasoning to start deciding to compete and go on stage and get judged and critique, and sometimes things don't always go the way you want, and you know, even if you put your all in, and if you say I brought my best, and sometimes your best wasn't like what got rewarded, taking every feedback and everything, like I don't want to say that you're an emotional person, but like it's like sometimes you have it, it may come off as that, but like how do you deal with like the mental like with all this thing and prep, like going into stage, making sure everything's right, everything like everything's going in. How do you deal and cope with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I think like because I've done this for so long, I feel like it's allowed me to, like this last year, I traveled outside of the Olympia and Wasatch. I traveled 9 times. That means I got on a plane and flew to go compete. And that means like that's so much. So one thing that has helped me is just kind of compartmentalizing. Like, okay, you have a show this weekend. So on X day you need to do like your food prep. On X day you need to do this. I'll be honest, like my days are really busy. I run a business. I have about 7 employees and I coach a lot of women. And so I think like staying busy helps me not be an emotional wreck because if all I did was focus on competing all the time, I would I would be overwhelmed and I'd be stressed out. So the fact that I have like other things in my life, plus I outside of work, like I have a kid I have to take care of. And so I have to show up for him emotionally too, and mentally be there. So if we're talking about like the times when things weren't going well for me, I just was able to confide in people close to me, right? People who I always call them like my Brooklyn believers, like the people that believe in me, confide in them and like just kind of let it out and be sad and then use it as a learning experience to help myself, but also help other women. And I always have to remind myself, like, you're going through this so you can teach people, not so you just go through it just to go through it. And I feel like that's allowed me to like find ways to just help other people and also like relate to other people because like my mom always tells me, she's like, I'm like, geez, mom, like it was like the middle of the summer, July after USA's. I was like, why can't I just like fucking get this? Like, I'm so done. I'm frustrated. I'm like, I wish I was one of those girls who just walked on stage and then walked off stage with a pro card. But for some reason, like, that's never been my story. Like, I worked my butt off to grow my business. I worked really hard in competing, like, all these things, right? She's like, because that's most people's story. That's most people have to work really hard to get to where they want to get to. And so I think for me, like, one thing that helps me mentally and emotionally is reminding myself, like, it's not just about me, right? It's about me showing up and showing other people, like, this is what happens when you're resilient, right? You can build a business, you can have the family, you can be a pro, like, you can do all the things. But, I would say that's the biggest thing that's helped me. And also, my son's been a big driving force. You mentioned a part of it. After USA's, when I was like kind of done, my son, we were driving in the car I was like looking at videos just because I always analyze my posing after I'm done. Like I'll analyze like why didn't I do well? Compare this girl to this girl. Like do I need to be fuller? Like what needs to happen? And he saw me crying and he's like, Mom, like what's wrong? And I'm like, I just didn't do good at my show and I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And he's like, oh, so you want to quit? And I'm like, oh, you're watching me. And he's like 6 at the time. I'm like, you're really watching me right now to see how I handle this. And so I think too, for me, showing up as the mom that he sees not quitting, right? Because what does he learn when I quit? Oh, when things get hard, we just quit. I'm like, I'm not raising that kind of kid. I want to raise the kid that's like, no, we're just going to keep going. So I think for me, like to answer your question, it's that what keeps me going is reminding myself that like, it's not just about me. And there's a bigger picture here. There's a bigger picture to not just like help other people, but like inspire them to keep going, like keep going, whatever it is. Like if you're wanting to step on stage for the first time or you're wanting to get your pro card, just keep going. Like don't give up. Like you never know when it's going to finally click. But if you quit, you'll never know. Like you'll never know. You'll never know what that looks like.
Yeah. No, that's a really good one. So my next question to ask is, you being in this for a long time and you seeing, I remembered Jennifer Ronziti, she didn't turn pro till she was 32 and she did her first ever like competition at 30s. But do you feel like it's better for, I always say like wait and like see when you're actually mature into this, but do you feel like there's an advantage of somebody being later in their age turning, like I don't want, like I'm 30 years old, I'm starting to compete, I'm going to be 32 probably I'm going to be 32 next year before I put my first foot on stage. But do you feel like it's much better for people when they're more mature, they know what they want, to go for bodybuilding competition, go for a pro card, versus in their early 20s when they're not so developed? What is your take on that whole?
Mm-hmm. I think it just kind of depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
Like, I think also too, it's really important to know who you are before you step on stage, because you got to realize too, like bodybuilding is a great sport and it's really like such a fantastic thing to like develop yourself. But I do feel like sometimes like 20-year-olds, like young 20-year-olds, again, like this is all relevant too,
Yeah.
may not be like emotionally mature enough to handle the defeat. Right. I feel like if I would have gone through what I went through this last year in my 20s, like all these shows, like winning and not doing well and like overall, and then you get 6th and then overall, and then you get 4th, like at a national show, it probably would have freaking crushed me. Like it really would have crushed me. But I feel like you go through certain things. This is why it's relevant, like the 20s versus 30s. Everybody goes through different things at different times of life. And I feel like it's all about perspective too. And so like if you have the mindset, and this is like an athlete's mindset of, I love this and I do this because I love it, you'll be in a good place at the end of the day. But if you're doing it just to win and that's all you care about, you'll phase out really fast. And I feel like that's what's kept me competing constantly, is because I actually do love bodybuilding. Like I told my husband so many times, like, I quit. And I've like told other people, like, no, I'm done. And then my husband always jokes, he's like, yeah, she'll be on the stage in like a year, like, or in a few months. Like she loves it. I do it because I love it. And I think like you have to really love it. So whether you're 20 or 30, 40 or whatever, like age you are, you just gotta love it. Like you've got to learn to love the process. Like, you got to embrace it all. So I don't think like age is really, I don't know. I see some girls that are young, and I definitely have talked to girls backstage that are young, and I can tell like and I'm not trying to be rude, but the emotional maturity is, we're just at different levels. Like,
Sure.
I'm in my 30s, I'm a mom, I've been through some things. And, when you're fresh out of high school, your level of life experience isn't quite there yet. And so I would like encourage women, no matter what age you are, you should, if you want it, like go after it, but make sure you're developing not just your physical body through the process, you're developing your mindset too. Cause that's what's going to develop you as an athlete as well.
Yeah. And I'm happy you said that, because I wanted to touch on this, one of my questions, but I felt like maybe you would have some perspective. But do you feel like, and this kind of goes into this, what you were saying, do you feel like bodybuilding is like for people who love it, or like a sense of belonging, because it's like people do it as a way to cope, as a sense of belonging to something. And like, for instance, someone's like, I'm doing, like, some people don't want to even want to compete, some people don't want to be like, they want to turn pro, and maybe it's good for the business, which I'm like, I'm happy that they're doing this, and I'm happy that but it's like, do you feel that it's a way for people to like belong? Like, if they weren't a competitor, they don't have purpose, or like if they weren't doing this, they don't have a reason. What is your, if I'm not saying the right words, maybe what is your take on that? Do you like, my, I think what I'm trying to say is, do you think people do bodybuilding now because of a sense of belonging, or they just want to do this as a way to compete and improve their life?
Mhm. Okay, so I'm trying to pull apart what you're saying. So, are you asking like when people are wanting to like step on stage, like is it like they're trying to find a way to like belong in like a community, and then they're also trying to find a way to like develop themselves? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I honestly I think both is good. I will say like both. Like this year, especially in the fit model division, oh my gosh, these women are amazing. The girls that I was doing shows with, you know, all these national shows with, I've made some really great friendships. And honestly, it's because a lot of us are the same age, especially the ones who have done well. If you notice, a lot of the pros right now, like they're all they're in like their early 30s, and they're all moms. And so I think like sometimes you do find your people. You find really like-minded people. And for me, honestly, this year, that's a big part of it too. Is because I feel like in the bodybuilding community, I do have like my people. Like they get me. Like we eat chicken for lunch and you know, we do cardio on the Stairmaster and we train like heavy and we kind of have similar mindsets, right? And so like I think like for competitors, yeah, that's good. I think like if you're going into competing for like vain reasons, like, oh, I just want to look like freaking amazing, you're probably not going to last very long because you're not developing the parts of yourself you need to develop. Because as an athlete, like I've been watching the Olympics this week. You listen to the way they talk, and they have a very like an athlete's mindset. This like, okay, let's keep going, let's keep going. But if you're just going into competing just for the aesthetics only, you're missing the whole point. Like bodybuilding is you like you mentioned, it's very mental. It is like almost, I'd say like 95% mental, like 2% nutrition and 2% training. The rest of it's mental. And I feel like you've got to develop that part of yourself and not just go in it for the aesthetics only. And then like when you're in there, yeah, you will find your people and you will connect. I feel like as women, I don't know if it's like this with men. I feel like maybe men might be a little different, but like women are very relationship driven, and so we find each other backstage and we connect, and it's been like that since the very first national show. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I really felt like that was much, it was much more clear. Maybe I was saying the wrong words. I feel it's like, do I do this for community? Do I do this for like, for instance, maybe me doing bodybuilding is because I want the fame, I want the, you know, like the vanity kind of thing, versus I do it because I love it. You know, there's like that difference of doing it for vanity, doing it for the love of it. I mean, I got into it because I like being in the gym. I like to train. I like to, you know, push myself. I feel like, you know, doing things differently and inspiring others and pushing others to like improve themselves. That's kind of what I do. You know, I started this whole, like this whole channel, this whole thing to like show, like, to bring a sense of community, to also, you know, share my passion as well. Even though I'm a classic competitor, I love the bikini division. I love the fit model and figure divisions. You know, I've seen it since the beginning, and being around it for such a long time, I like when I see a woman make an effort in the gym and they're trying to do something to improve, I want to help that person. I mean, it's kind of hard now these days because everyone's like with the whole science based and all, and you know what works for me. But I'm like, anything that I could do to help someone, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to go through that length and to, you'll go above and beyond to see people come at their best. And that's what I wanted to do: bring people together on here, share their story. You know, not just I eat this, I train like this, I do glutes this many times a week. No, it's like there's many things about this person that makes them unique and special. And so people are going to look at them and go, I like that person. I want to learn a little bit more about them. And that's what I feel like I want to do just in the community. That's why I want to be in this for such a long time. So my next question I wanted to ask you was, for you getting your pro card, what does it mean now versus when you started? Do you feel like people go for a pro card as an end goal, or do you feel like for you that, like, now that you turn pro and fit model and you're going to be going into like fit model pro shows, and is it like for you to like, do well in fit model, qualify for the Olympia, do the Olympia one time, or like continue to be a pro for many years?
Oh, I love that question. um, yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to qualify for the Olympia? Let's be honest. Like everybody wants to qualify for the Olympia, right? We all want that Olympia qualification. I would be lying if I said I didn't. I of course I want it. Like I'm a naturally competitive person. It would honestly, I told my husband, I said if I qualified for the Olympia, I could just die right there. Like that would be like ascend to heaven because I've been in the bodybuilding sport for so long. I've gone to a handful of Olympias. I mean, my husband is the one like 15 years ago when we were dating. Like he was obsessed with the Olympia, like Ronnie Coleman, like all these guys. I love that part of the sport. And this is why I love the NPC and the IFBB because I always say like the NPC, the IFBB is like it is the NFL of bodybuilding. Like when you are there and you make it to like this our Super Bowl, right? Our Super Bowl is basically the Olympia. It is like the biggest honor. So for me, yeah, I would love that. Do I think it's going to happen this year? Honestly, I have no idea. I'm going to try my hardest like I did this last year. I'm going to do everything I possibly can. I'm going to do as many shows as I can. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to do a lot of shows this year. I have a plan. My goal is to qualify. If it doesn't happen, okay, you know what? Like, I've been doing this sport for a decade. It's not going to tear me down. Like, I will come back and keep trying until I get where I want to be. Whether that be, in fit model or, eventually if I go up to bikini, like, I can see myself being like a 40-year-old woman in like, what, 10 years, 8 years from now, and being in bikini because, maybe at that point I have a lot of muscle or maybe fit model will evolve, but I don't think I'll ever stop competing. Like I honestly, I think maybe when I'm in like my 50s, I'll probably be like, okay, Brooklyn, like good job, you did it. But yeah, my eventual goal is the Olympia. I would love that. That would be a huge honor. And it would be honestly a dream come true for me because again, like me and my husband, we love bodybuilding. We always watch the Olympia. Like I'm not just one of these girls that got into bodybuilding just because I thought it looked fun. Like I love the sport. I love watching all the athletes. I love following all their stories. Yeah. What was the other half of your question? And did I answer
Do
that
you
fully?
feel like, people see getting a pro card as like an end goal, or like you feel like, there's it's very few people that go and say, I want to turn pro, I want to go to that next level. Because I always say this, and I'll say this to you right now. I can't wait to see what you do at the next level. It's kind of like that graduation. It's like you graduated. I can't wait to see what you do at the next level. So do you feel like, for some people, when they do it for such a long time, they see it just as an end goal, do it one time or get that one thing? Or do you feel, I mean, everyone's different, I guess, but from what you've seen, being in it for such a long time, do you feel like they see it as like the end goal versus like, what could I do to do this for a long time, even after competition?
Yeah, I think some people do. I think they're like, I'm gonna get the pro card and then I'm done. Or maybe they just burn themselves out so much that they just are done at the end. That definitely, to be honest, I didn't think I was going to get my pro card at the Olympia amateur. I thought like that, in my head, I was like, just probably never going to happen for me. And so for me, like it was kind of just like, well, what do I do now? I'm just going to keep competing. Like, what else am I going to do? Like, am I going to go pick up tennis? Hell no. Like, I'm going to go to the gym and lift weights. So I think like if you love the sport, you will continue to level up in it. So whether that be like you go to nationals for the first time and you work on that, or you get your pro card and you want to compete as a pro, if you really love the sport and it's something you are really passionate about, you'll find a way to continue to level up in the sport. Which I would like to think that's where a lot of people are, but I do see people like getting their pro card and then like where'd they go? You never see them again. So
Yeah. So that's a really good take on it. My next question to ask is, what is your advice? Because I see a lot of young girls train pro fast, and some may want to expedite their growth by any means. But it took you over a decade to accomplish this in a new division after bikini has evolved. So, what do you say to women's, starting, like, I don't want to say, I don't want to like say like, because even me, okay, like, what do you have to say to women starting in their 30s or mid, or like the early 30s, mid 30s to 40s, turning pro? Do you have to like say, okay, what do you hope to get out of this, or like, what is like end goal?
Yeah. So for women who are wanting to like turn pro, and that's like the goal, whether you're young or you're in your 30s or 40s, like you've you've got to like lean in, like kind of like my last statement, like you've got to lean into the part of the sport that you love. For me, I love being on stage. I'm a former pageant girl. I love being on stage. Being on stage is super fun for me. I also love lifting. I love going to the gym and I love training heavy. I like seeing like more definition in my legs and in my stomach. Like those things are fun. And so like I feel like if you're wanting to go pro, you've got to find love in like the monotony of the day to day, and not look at it as like this timeline. Oh, once I compete, I can live my life again. Like you just gotta like lean in and just be like, this is who I am and this is my lifestyle now. And I feel like when you can do that, um, you can make this something you can do forever, and it becomes kind of just who you are. That's something that's helped me become like honestly this year and like the last few years like competing, it's just kind of who I am. Like it's, I wouldn't say like my whole personality is bodybuilding, but I mean I do kind of live the lifestyle. And so like for women wanting to go pro, I don't know, number one, like lean into it and just like fully embrace it, and then just like find things that you love about it. um and just find the joy. I would say find joy in the journey. Like that's a really important thing. Like you have to find joy in the journey of competing, because there are times it's really hard and there are days it is really hard. So you have to find the joy. Like even like if it's just, oh, I lifted a little heavier today or whatever it is. So
Yeah. All right. So my last question is, how are you now with your pro debut at Wasatch? So I believe every show is going to have at least, I say a minimum 25, but I'm going to say this. I think it's going to be an average of 30 to 40 girls. I mean, this Japan Pro is going to have 50 in it. So everyone wants to qualify. And I think there's only 22, 24, 23 shows. They just added Texas and they added Nashville. I thank you, Whitney. I was like, I
yeah.
talked to Robin. I'm like, Lydia Bar Spots Rigger show. I think we can get Nashville in August. And like, so, and now August has two more shows. Like, and that's going to be the last month to qualify. So how are you with Wasatch, and like, how are you with the first ever pro show? Cause it's going to be almost every national winner probably at that show.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's really exciting. At first I was a little like nervous. I won't lie. Like this is new level for me. I've never been at this level. I mean, geez, Janet Leigh has come back and like we're gonna be on stage with her and we're gonna be on stage with like former Olympians. What an honor. Like that is such an incredible thing. I remember watching Janet Leigh and being like, wow, like she's amazing. Now I get to step on stage with her. Like that's really cool. Like I feel like I'm just like I told my husband, I'm like, I'm just living my dream right now. Like it's just gonna be great. So coming into the Wasatch Warrior, I think, I do think it's going to be a big one. I would imagine we're probably going to be seeing 40 to 50 girls because it's the first one in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going in there with doing everything I can at my very best. Like I'm going to make sure my nutrition's 100%. Like I'm on my discipline for everything, my nutrition, my training, my posing, all of it. I've got all of my ducks in a row. Um, yeah. As far as like the Japan one, I'm excited to watch it. I'm really excited. I actually was going to do it, decided not to. About a week before we started prep for it, I was like, I just need a little bit more time off. It's been a long year. I need to give myself a little bit more time. And honestly, I wanted to do my pro debut at the Wasatch because I won the overall at that show.
Yeah.
And what a cool show to do my first pro debut at for the first show I won my fit model overall at. So, yeah.
I mean, do you see any other shows, like for instance Pittsburgh? That's one that's going to be really big because that's only the one of three shows that has all the Olympia judges on it, with the Arnold and Pittsburgh. So Arnold and Pittsburgh, they have all the Olympia judges. So do you see yourself doing Pittsburgh? Like New York's a
Yeah.
week before and then Pittsburgh's the following.
Both.
You do
Both.
both New York and Pittsburgh?
I am gonna do as many shows as I can this year to qualify.
All right.
I have already stocked a bunch of cash up, so I'm like ready to go. Like I told my husband, I said I'll do as many shows as I have to qualify, unless I'm like really down in the dumps, like I need to take like a few months or like a month. But that's the hard thing. Once April hits to August, that is it. That is the qualifying window for a fit model. That is it, right? We have literally Wasatch until I think the last one is maybe the Atlanta show, which I won the overall at. That's like the, or is it another one to qualify?
Let me see. I think it's the Pennsylvania Muscle. They
Okay.
what's naturally it gets you qualified. It used to just be amateur show, and that was like always one that like got into. I'm going to share this pro schedule with you. Okay, let's go down. Okay, I'm going to pull it up right here.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Here we go.
Yeah, I already have like in my phone countdowns for a lot of the shows I'm doing, which
So
is
the
like,
last one in the US is going to be Pennsylvania Muscle. North Americans is going to be like first week of September. And I miss the Olympia back. I actually like the Olympia in September versus when it was in October, November, December, because it's like I feel like it hasn't been in September since 2019. And I will tell you this, the arena, I mean you went to when it was in the Orleans.
yeah,
It's much bigger, it's much better, and you can do much more, and there's more space backstage.
so cool.
Yeah. And I don't mind floor seating, but I mean, I like it. I mean, so your last shows for in the US are going to be, I don't know if I don't think MaxFit is going to be open, but you have the Pennsylvania Muscle, then you have Nashville, you have Texas, you have Atlanta,
Yep.
Tampa,
I
and
mean,
then a lot of Florida shows. So there's 6 shows outside US and in the Asian countries, and then there's 2 in Canada, and then there's 1 in Portugal. But I look
mhm.
at it and I'm thinking the Florida shows, because a lot of pros live in Florida, they're all going to be in there. But then you have Girl Power in Orlando, and then you have let's see, Southern USA, which that's Orlando, yeah, Orlando.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely see all the shows in Florida being competitive. Anything in July, St. Pete, and then there's mostly July is outside US. So you have Toronto, you have China, you have Portugal, Vancouver. So it's like April, May, June shows, and then you have one July, and then you have all the shows in August. And August is going to be like last minute. Everyone's like, I got to call. Can I ask you something
Mhm.
quickly? Um, do you think most girls are going to be one and done, or do you think like even if they do qualify, they're still going to want to compete more? Like
Ooh.
if that was you, let's just say you won one of the shows, you qualified. Do you shut it down? Do you like maybe do 1 or 2 more?
Oh, that's a really hard question. If it was me, I would keep doing shows to stay in shape and stay conditioned, to see where I'm at, get judges' feedback. Because honestly, I'm the kind of competitor that like I do better with each show I do, which is honestly most women. And in fit model, let's be honest, it's not like we're bikini where we're dicey and shredded and crazy like that. I would imagine that we're gonna see some of that this year. I that's gonna suck because they might take some qualifications away from women, but I don't know. I think for me, like let's say if I did qualify like in April or May, I might do 1 or 2 shows through the summer, but I'm not gonna hit all of them. But if I'm not qualifying, I'm gonna hit every single show I can do until I qualify.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be competitive. I mean, I feel like the more muscular divisions, they're more because you put so much into it. It's like that's why you see them more one and done. And even bikini, some of the girls, but also like the cost of competing and all. But I feel like bikini and fit model, people can do that more. So it's not so stressful unless it's like, and now bikini, they have to win 2 shows. So unless you're like one of the tier 1 shows and it's straight away. But maybe I don't know if they're going to add more shows into fit model next year, then and if it's over 60 for in a qualification period, they're going to have to do that um point system where you have to win 2 or like win the big ones and go straight away. But I feel like this is great to see like at least 20 people on stage, because I can look at people ask me, do you think you can judge, John? You're really good at this, really good at breaking it, because I do that with my YouTube channel. But I'm like, I could look at 20 people in a class. I can't do more than that. I can't. I'm so. God bless Bill. You
Yeah.
know, he judged North Americans from Tuesday to Sunday. I'm like, if that
Oh,
was me, I'd be. And he did the amateur. He only had one day off.
and you
He only got Thursday off, and then he goes and
know,
does that. But if it was me, it's stressful. It's high pressure. You know, you're taking time away from your family. You know, it's a lot to be into doing it. But I look at it like it should be competition. I mean, it's I feel like it should be more fun and exciting. It's like, hey, you meet someone that's big. It's like you're now the more talk. You're now the most talked about girl. Like everyone's gonna be like everyone wants to see that like underdog, that person that's like right there to win. And that was kind of like when I'm seeing you, I'm like, oh, she was just making effort. Like she's right there to win. Like you got this, Brooklyn. Come on, you can get it. And I want to see that with you going into this season. So I'm happy to see your journey and your path, and I definitely am going to see what you're going to do on stage, and I'm looking forward to seeing Wasatch. I'll try to fly out there. Robin's like, if you and when we just talked, it's like, listen, if you need a ticket to come to my show, just let me know. I'm like I could just fly, and I'll fly myself in. I'll get a place, and I told her like if I can do that, I will do that. But I'm really excited for the season. Everyone's so anxious. Everyone's talking about what's going to happen. It's like, I'd say within 5 shows, so after Pittsburgh, maybe we'll get a sense of what the division is going to be like. But right now, I don't know anybody on the West Coast that would fly out. I mean, you would think if someone lives on the West Coast, they can fly out to the Asian countries if they are going to try. If they really want it, they'll try to qualify. But I'm curious to see what the Asian competitors look like with US, because
mm,
I feel like you look at different regions in the world and you see the physique type that people are going for. Like Latin America is like wellness. And now, if you look at, guess what country is taking over figure?
what country?
Germany. Half the girls, like there's 14 girls, half of them are German that are
Yeah.
qualified. I think 3 of them were in the top 10, and the fourth place girl, that's young, the blonde, Denise, she's fourth in the world. And I was just like, so I guess because we're getting more conditioned and more harder, that's kind of what the figure is going to look like. I love figure. I
Figure.
love like
Mhm.
Rachel Sedgwick's one of my good friends. I talk with her all the time. Um, Leanna McCall, she's her husband's open bodybuilder. She was in figure, now she's going into wellness. But I love figure. I like and if bikini's kind of going into that physique, I'm like, okay, but no quad splits.
Yeah.
I'm happy with bikini if they are doing getting a little more split, but no, like no quad splits. And honestly, I think it's going to be great to see what if people grow out a fit model, they go into that, because who knows what the future holds for competitors, even including yourself. There they go. You know what? Like I think I can go a little further and go up. It's like versus like holding myself back. Cause I feel like for you, it wasn't too difficult to like, go from crazy tie-ins to like coming in softer.
Mhm.
But I look at the physique type, and listen, I don't know what's going to happen this season, but I look at the physique type like that, like I said, that long, slender physique. Like even, I don't know if you know Chantel Hall. She's bikini. She's now going into fit model. I'm like, I think this works well for her, but she has longer glute inserts. But the thing was, her legs would be smaller than her glutes were. So, but I feel like those girls that have the shorter glute inserts and they're much longer and they can pose very well. Presentation is definitely be a good thing. So you're one of the first people up with your last name. You better like they're gonna see you first. So it's like you come out, you be memorable. You come out like I'm here to win. They say your next competitor from the USA, Brooklyn, Goodsell. You walk out like, all right, here we go. And the whole 10-second thing, I feel like it's good to just like get to the point. We don't want to see like wait, you remember OG Bikini? They kept doing this. I'm
Oh yeah.
like, doing the wave, do the wave. Like I'm like, get to the point, get to the point, because then they say thank you, your time's off. But I'm excited to see what you're gonna do, Brooklyn. And listen, um, before I sign off and before I let you go, I just want to like any shout outs, any people you want to thank for all this and your whole journey.
I mean, yeah. I mean, number one person comes to my mind is two big people. My coach, Paul, and then my husband. Obviously, he's been a huge part of it. My mom too. My mom's always like, just keep going, you know. And my good friends, like I will say, my friend Nadia, she's actually doing Japan Pro. She's an IFBB pro. She got her pro card in fit model at Masters USA's, I believe, and she's been a big part of me continuing to go this year because there were so many times I wanted to quit, and she was like, "No, girl, like just one more." And yeah, just I mean, really, those people are my biggest supporters. So yeah, I'm excited this year. We'll see what it brings. I'm gonna do my very best and take the judges' feedback and try to fit the criteria the best I can. And I mean, just like an athlete would, right? Just do everything I possibly can to get to where I want to be.
All right. And with that being said, listen, if I don't get to Wasatch, I hope to see you in Pittsburgh. They
Yeah.
go on Sunday, by the way. So I
Okay.
think most of the female divisions and classic physique will go on Sunday. So they're changing their format up, but I definitely think you'll love the Pittsburgh Pro experience. It is a smaller expo. I mean, you've been to the Arnold, you've been to the Olympia Expo. This is a much smaller one, but I definitely think how well ran that show is, and with being in the convention center, you're gonna love it, and definitely gonna see some of the best athletes there. Definitely gonna see some of the best athletes all over the world. So I can't wait to see you. I'm gonna be getting my VIPs for that after the Arnold is over. So I'll see you in Pittsburgh if I don't see you in Wasatch, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, we'll be there.
All right. Well, you take care, Brooklyn. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.